Alright, so in this video I want to talk about the miracles that I've seen. Now, first of all, many people don't consider these things miracles, and we have to talk about, what a miracle really is to first be able to understand. So in the Bible it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And to be able to understand these miracles, we have to understand what the Spirit is and how the Spirit works. So the spirit is basically the light contained inside the brains of other creatures, and it can do certain miracles for some people sometimes, and it also operates as a communication system as the Holy Spirit to try to guide people to do the right thing and convict them of their sins. It's also contained in inanimate objects and in dust particles and in the weather and in plants, but you see it most clearly in like living creatures such as humans, animals, insects. And that's one of the main ways the spirit communicates with us. Now, these miracles that I performed, I just want to say, didn't used to happen when I was younger. So one way I identified them as miracles is stuff like this, strange stuff like this simply wouldn't happen before I turned 27, before I saw started studying saints and stuff. So before then, miracles used to not happen when I was younger, and so that's one thing that kind of makes me think they're miracles. Even though I admit, like, they're small miracles, they're not huge miracles, but they're done through the Spirit, and I acknowledge them as miracles. I acknowledge them as proof that God is real, and He's done a lot of them, and they kind of activated when I got older. So, one of the miracles or types of miracles that I've done is the prediction of natural disasters. So, I believe my prayers started COVID because when I prayed to God for COVID to happen, I didn't pray to God for COVID to happen. I prayed to God. I had a dream from God, and it told me to pray that people get released from jail and don't go to jail. And I prayed that, and then when I prayed that, COVID all of a sudden happened, and all of a sudden they started releasing people from jail. And I was like, wow, He answered my prayers because they told me to pray for that. Okay? Another natural disaster that I guess I've seen miracles with was the earthquake. So, a few months ago, I was driving by a place where I cried on my birthday, and all of a sudden, I got this very clear vision of this like earthquake from the bottom rising and lightning appearing from the top. And then, next thing I know, there's a giant natural disaster happening in um, Turkey, basically, and there was a huge earthquake there. And I had been talking about an earthquake for an entire week. Like I had told my mom and I told my friends, I got this vision of the earthquake, and like strange synchronicities are happening every time I talk about the earthquake, but I don't know what that means. And a week later, an earthquake happened, which was strange. Uh, Another strange thing is I had PTSD on this day, and I felt a lot of trauma from it. And then a huge fire happened on that same day, and it filled the whole sky with smoke on that very same day. And I was praying to God to fix it and to make me feel better about it and stuff. And then all of a sudden, on that same day, a fire happened in Montreal, and then it started, the smoke went all the way south to where I lived, and the sky filled with smoke on the day that I had PTSD. So that kind of helped me heal. But it was definitely like a natural disaster connected to my prayers because I've seen a lot of stuff like this happen. Uh, Another thing is one time I cut myself, more than once I think, I cut myself and a blood moon happened, and I didn't know a blood moon was gonna happen. I couldn't have predicted it, and then I cut myself and the next day a blood moon happened, and sometimes people see it. My mom has seen it. She thinks it's strange. She thinks it's miraculous. But these aren't like big miracles, they're small miracles, so I can't tell if I'm crazy or if they're miracles. There's so many though. This is just, one video of me talking about them. There's probably 20 times more strange occurrences like this that follow me, which is why I'm making this YouTube channel. Another strange thing was like I prophesied an explosion happening in Lebanon. I said I hope Lebanon blows up. I got really mad that I grew up in Lebanon, and I said I hope it blows up. I hope a giant explosion happens there and the whole place just blows up. And lo and behold, one of the biggest explosions ever happened in Lebanon. And ironically, it was on the same day that I was doing community service for the American military. So I was like, that's so ironic of it to happen on that day, and it's obviously God messing with me or angels trolling me. So this is just one video of the natural disasters I've prophesied and about the nature of these miracles and how they started with me and how they're operating by the Spirit. So I'm going to continue documenting them, and these are just some of them.